See?
Yeah,
Perfect.
we did it. Yes, finally. That's a victory. What's going on out there, you guys? We are back to give you guys another spoiler-filled review for WandaVision. This was episode 7. Lucas, what was the name of this episode?
Marvel drags the show out.
I don't know what the name of this episode was. I legit don't know the name of the episode, but we can go ahead and kind of break the episode down for you guys. And if you hadn't seen the episode yet, make sure you go and watch it on Disney Plus. Come back to us. Now, there was I think it was an error in somebody saying that these were going to be hour-long episodes. Because this was not an hour episode. It's like a 30-minute episode.
So it brings up two things. Either we know total, it's only 6 hours of television. We know that. We know total how it was originally shot. We know that you're still breaking up episodes. Either you're going to do 40, that would be like 45-minute episodes.
Well,
or you're going to do 1 hour and 30-minute episode to close out the series to make it look or feel closer to the movie format.
I think there's going to be 45-minute episodes only because what they're going to do is they're going to say, like most of the shows that are hour are only like technically 47 minutes or 48.
Yep.
And they're going to say it's quote unquote an hour. I think that's what they're going to do because then they can be like, okay, these are the last final 2 episodes to give you the resolution that you've been looking forward to. And that is where I think they're going to go with it. But
breaking the fourth wall. Ha-ha.
Yep, I got it up there just at the same time.
Breaking the fourth wall.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and break this episode down. So the 2 biggest things in this episode, aside from this Modern Family-esque episode, which I personally am not, I've never seen Modern Family. I've seen an episode here or there, but I've never watched the full episode. I've never watched any of the seasons. And so I just assumed they did it justice. Do you know, Lucas, have you ever seen Modern Family?
I've seen every episode of Modern Family, or just about every episode. And it was cute.
So did they do a good job of like the way that I guess their fourth wall breaking and conversations and stuff is, or
kind of? Wanda did it. The interactions with Wanda doing it was a lot better than everyone else's interpretation of how that's supposed to be done.
Yeah,
but yeah, it was still cheesy. Like, I'm confused why Modern Family here. I thought it was other shows you could have jumped into before getting to Modern Family, because Modern Family would technically be it. Like, that's it.
Yeah, so it's weird because Malcolm in the Middle was the 90s.
And you jumped 20 years.
But didn't Modern Family start in like the 2000s technically?
2010, I want to say. Modern Family went on for what, 12 years? So it started like 2008.
So that might be
a huge gap between that and Malcolm in the Middle. Like that's a huge gap, and it was other family shows in between them two, but not too. I don't know if there's many white family shows in between those two. Now that I think about it.
But in the beginning of this episode, like it shows Wanda, she's kind of breaking the fourth wall, talking to us herself. The intro changes though because it's just her, and up until the very last segment of the intro, it said Wanda and Vision. But basically, in this episode, it's all about her losing grasp and losing control of the situation. Like she's still in her outfit from the Halloween episode. She's still tries to eat, like I think she was trying to eat some milk or something, like, or she tried to eat some cereal,
and it kept on transforming to different milks.
Changing. Yeah,
the kids' games were changing to different things from different.
That was actually kind of cute. I actually like that.
They were in. Like, but this is something we said would happen eventually, that she would lose grip of her powers.
She's going to unravel. Yeah, that's correct. That's correct. And then you have on the other side of this, which was weird, was Vision. Vision. Vision went and he found Darcy. He found Darcy because the rest of the soldiers were a part of a circus. They were part of Sword. And Darcy kind of didn't know who she was until he made contact with her. And then they decided to go out and leave to try to go and stop him. Now, this is the thing. Now, this is not shade for any of you guys that liked any of this conversation, because, you know, the girl that plays Darcy, she's funny. And, you know, your boy that plays Vision, he's playing the role of the dad in the situation, which is cool. But it made no sense for him to be running anywhere when he could just pick her up and they could fly.
Yeah.
That I kind of was like, now granted, they did have a moment where he had this moment where he's like, what the heck am I doing? Like he kind of pulled the microphone off and he went to Darcy and then he kind of flew off. But I was kind of like, even with leaving Darcy there, he could have just took her. Like there was no real reason why that whole moment had to happen, unless you're trying to say that, Wanda's influence is still
there,
working
and
on
she's
him.
using more of her power to control Vision versus the rest of her surroundings, and that's what's causing her powers to glitch everywhere else.
Possibly.
That's what they'll tell you. I'll tell you that they just don't know what to do with Vision, and he's boring in this show.
And then you have this situation where Monica. Hold on. This is where we gotta be careful. We gotta tread careful because I want to make sure I use my verbiage right. So, Monica, Jimmy, decided they're gonna make contact with their person. It was an aerospace engineer that was going to get them into the facility, and this person, supplied them with this state-of-the-art space vehicle by some kind of way. I don't know how they did it. But either way, they decided to get the help from this person, and they did it. But this person was somebody we never heard before whatsoever. Like, never seen them before. I don't know if they're connected to the comics. If they are, let us know in the comment section below or the chat right now. But correct me if I'm wrong.
They hurt so many.
Why make such a big deal about hiding who she's making contact with?
They hurt so many Marvel fans' feelings. I thought hey, we said from the beginning that Reed Richards was way too big of a character to reveal on a television show.
We did.
But that didn't stop Marvel fans from basically saying it was him, or the John I sent you last week, it was Blue Marvel. Like they were coming up with anybody. And then you just get this regular ass person in here, and I think it was just a way to trick people, because I think they understood, or they should have understood, that people were already going to make the Reed Richards connection, because you clearly always knew who Agnes was. Like
we ain't even got to that yet.
Yeah, so everybody knew that. So because you knew that, you expected that maybe the person would be Reed Richards, because that's a huge connection and connecting of the dots for Marvel. And not saying that this person may not be someone else that we just don't know or care about, but clearly it's not who people thought it could be.
And I think it just wasn't gratifying to people. Like, it's kind of like they made a big deal out of it, where it could have been this conversation like, yo, I think I might have a way of getting in. I'm gonna talk to one of my contacts and we're gonna try to get this vehicle, get everything you talked about, Jimmy. We're gonna make it into one and just leave it like that. Not like I got this person that I'm gonna, because I mean, what it did was, to me, I think it just let people down. Kind of like, even more so with even though we don't know the Peter Evans Pietro situation specifically, but there's some people that I've talked to, it's like, man, like, why didn't they just make this this is a multiverse situation? Like, they're dragging this along, and I kind of feel like they're just going to drop the ball. Now, they could, I don't know, but I think that both of these accounts, people are like, you giving it to us right here, but then you just like, well, we don't want to save this for the show. We're just going to give you this inclusion. And that was one of the things I didn't like about the last Spider-Man movie, is when Spider-Man was talking to Mysterio, it's like, you got a multiverse? And granted, all you Marvel fans, look, y'all were like telling me, like, you should have known they never would have done that. But
that's
my whole thing is,
wait. That's a lie, because we researched the hell out of that movie before it came out, and all Marvel fans kept on saying, is they're going to beat DC to the multiverse. That's all I heard.
They did.
All I heard. I constantly asked, are y'all sure? Like, that seems like an odd thing to bring up in this movie. No, it's gonna happen, because he's gonna bring it up, and Spider-Man's gonna be in the multiverse. and then it didn't happen, and then it's you should have known it wasn't going to happen. Stop lying to yourselves, people. It's like people were lying to say, man, you should have known that wasn't Reed Richards. I can prove that most of you thought it was Reed Richards, and it's fine if you thought that was going to be him, and it turns out it wasn't him. Same way with the multiverse, same way with the way it makes it seem that this show may end up being. Because we always assume, and I think we're still assuming right, this is a gateway to the multiverse. That's the whole purpose of the show.
Yeah, there's a lot of all I can say is for you guys that are really comic booky fans, Nexus, the commercial where they were talking about like this drug that'll help you get counterbalance to the depression and things are going on. It's a parallel to Wanda specifically. If you don't know that Wanda is one of the only focal characters in the Marvel Cinematic Universe that is consistent. That is exactly the same. There's not any other iteration of her. It's just her. And so she is technically that focal point. But then the Nexus also implies to these different multiverse universes. And that was the whole point of that commercial, which I assumed. So there's enough there to gauge that this is all about the multiverse. And I think even Kevin Feige said it. Kevin Feige said that WandaVision was going to be the thing that was pushing things forward. I think that was his verbiage. Yeah. Going from there to Doctor Strange 2, going from there into Spider-Man, going there to where the MCU is going to be moving forward. And I think that's what's his verbiage anyway. So I think we're still going to say that. But I think that when you do moments like that Spider-Man situation, or you do moments like this Reed Richards situation, cool, yeah, that's Easter egg, but it's like unnecessary. I mean, it's like hype for no hype when really just focusing on the story, because you got way too many, all these different pinpoints. We haven't even got to the core of the different things in this episode to talk about, because we're going through all these theoreticals that just were like, we're going to push this here, we're going to push this here, push this here, and making it 38 minutes long. So anyway. All right, so this is the big thing that you guys either one, you knew coming, which most of you guys should have, or you didn't. And we're talking about Agnes, Agatha Harkness. So AG and then NES, Agatha, short for Agatha Harkness. So Lucas, I'm gonna ask you a question. We knew this. We knew this from day one.
From the very first episode.
From the very first episode, I think that the only thing that me and Lucas didn't know was whether or not she, was also being influenced by Wanda, or whether or not she was kind of involved in it. It was just, I mean,
I know nothing about. Again, I'm not a comic book person. I know absolutely nothing about the character, but all I kept on hearing from episode 1 was who she was and why it was possibly a connection to the Fantastic Four because of her connection to Reed Richards. But past that, I didn't know who this character was. I didn't know what this character does. I just knew the connection. And I didn't fully know if she would be controlled by Wanda, because I didn't know her power set or her power level.
Yeah.
Anything of that nature.
Yeah. And I think that, well, do you think, okay, so I'm gonna ask a bigger question. Do you think that do you think that they casted the right person, and do you think that she's played this role well enough to continue this character? Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Well, yes, as a side character, yeah. I mean, it's not a bad role. And she's done a pretty good job in it.
Yeah.
Like it's definitely, she's definitely talented enough to do it, but I want to say, is the level of importance of this character high enough to continue it?
So I think that that's the big draw to this. And I think a lot of you guys have been waiting for us to even pick up speed into this, is that you reveal that Agnes has been the epicenter of controlling or manipulating Wanda to some degree to put this hex situation up in the beginning. But why would you reveal the person that's the main bad when you still got 2 more episodes to go? That never happens. It's always, okay, you reveal who this person is, but then there's also a draw there. And I think that, I'm not saying that our theory is still correct.
Could it be that episode, the second to last episode, is more dealing with the bad, and clearly is another thing that happens late in this episode. Also, a reveal that everyone should have seen coming. That also adds weight into why you can do this in this episode. Then give us the big episode for episode the second before last episode, and then the last episode is just to clarify where everything is going to move forward from.
It's possible. I think it's absolutely possible. I just think that I think the setup was actually pretty dope, to be honest with you. When Wanda, because we hadn't talked about the situation with Monica and Wanda. We'll get to that in a second. I think this is more important. When Wanda got to Agnes's house, and we knew already that Agnes she had this conversation with the kids, and the kid that the telepath was talking to her, he was like, I really like it here. And she's like, oh, was it because of Mr. Snippy? And he's just like, no, it's just quiet. Because he's a telepath. He's hearing everybody's situation. He's feeling everything. But there, it was quiet.
So that was a hint of who she was.
And then he said to her, and you know what? You're quiet inside. And you're like, oh. And that was when I was kind of like, because she looked at both boys, and she looked at us in the camera. And then she kind of like, oh, okay, thank you, honey. And then they just kind of panned over to the rest of the scenes. But then when Wanda came back to the house, she saw, the food that had been eaten. She saw the bunny rabbit still in this cage, and then this weird cicada that was just sitting there. And I was kind of like, how they have these horror movie tropes that are tied to each one of the episodes. I can't pinpoint which one this one is. But the setup for it was actually really dope that I liked, because when Wanda went around the corridor, she was like, where are the kids? She was like, oh, they're probably downstairs in the basement. I was like, yo, if I was Wanda, I would have tore that whole place apart. Like, bro, where are my kids?
It's the trope of instant suspense.
Yep.
A lot of horror movies do it, where the person goes into the house where the killer is, and they know someone else is in the house. Normally it's a family member or something, and they looking around, and you see pieces of what the family member left. And you may be like, hello, but instead of saying hello, she's asking questions.
Yep.
And then you go down somewhere where you kind of know the moment she said, they're in a basement, you knew where it was going.
Exactly. We all knew where it was going from that point. Well, it was just...
Would you say we knew before? Well, we kind of knew before that, the way... the other reveal that happens this episode, because that interaction happened before they got into the house.
You talking about Monica and Wanda?
Yeah. That interaction between them two, and then when Agatha comes out there, to me, that told you everything you needed to know.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely want to speak on that. But when Wanda does go down there, right? And she starts to see these vines, and it looks like something is completely off. It doesn't look like anything that she's created. And at the point that she kind of looks to the left and to the right, she sees these different symbols all across different areas of this space. And then it focuses in on this book, and the book has this yellowy, orange, aura to it. But they only focus on it for a little bit, but not enough for you to actually see, what it actually is, what the symbol actually is. And then from that point, that's when, Agatha was like, oh, you thought you were the only one that had abilities? No. And then she just, I guess what I'm assuming what happens is not only she just controlling her, she's showing Wanda this whole entire time, I'm behind pretty much everything that you've been seeing or think you've been seeing, even specifically this Pietro moment. The thing about this Pietro moment is the question I was going to have for you. Do you think why would Agatha, right, pull out of her card a Pietro, but a Pietro from a different multiverse instead of the Pietro that she knows? Do you think that this was something that was outside of her control, or do you think this was intentional to mess with Wanda? Because, I mean, it shows right here in this picture, she's the one that, brought him there in that moment. But why? You know what I'm saying? It's either one, she's manipulating this to unravel the multiverse, to play on Wanda's emotions, or it's something completely different. I'm just curious your perspective on it.
First, I still have the same question. How powerful is she supposed to be?
Oh, are you asking?
Yes. How powerful is she supposed to be?
So she's supposed to be pretty OP, man. She goes back, way back, as far as like one of the older witches of Marvel. Like, I'll go ahead and pull up her profile real quick. Lord, ads everywhere. Salem Witch Trials, Department of Uncanny, Franklin Nanny, Scarlet Witch. So let's go and see a little bit of her power set. See if we can get to it. So this doesn't even have her power set. This has really just got her history. A lot of times they have it at the very bottom. Here we go. So she's at the top in terms of speed, in terms of energy projection, ability to tap the universe's infinity stone of ambient and magic. Oh, okay. She literally manipulates what Wanda does. Because that's what she's made of. Mm-hmm. Skill derived from three major sources: personal powers of mind, soul, and body. Powers gained by tapping the universe's ambient magical energy to employ it to specific effects. And finally, the power is gained through tapping extra dimensional energy by invoking entities or objects, powers, and existence from mythological dimensions. Temperamental on her own. That answers my question then. Yeah. She literally pulled him from a different location because she could. That works with what she does.
So then does it still apply to what Wanda said about things being dead and you not being able to bring those things back?
So I think that in terms of Pietro, yes. But Vision technically isn't.
But Vision is a human.
Exactly.
Vision is a machine. But no, I'm talking about in the form of Pietro, and that's why she pulled a different Pietro back instead of the one that Wanda would know. Because then that means the same rules still apply that we've been talking about. Like that Pietro was pulled because the other one couldn't be pulled back. So if you pull that Pietro back, and she does it just to mess with Wanda, then it makes sense.
Yeah, but then you're starting. Then this is where I like this part of the conversation, because then when you start pulling things from a different universe, then you start thinking things go out of balance. I think it was it Infinity War or was it Endgame?
Endgame with the crystal, when they try to explain, even though they explained that when you pull a crystal out of here, like you interrupt that timeline and they leave this timeline unprotected, which means if you pull Pietro from his timeline, then whatever would happen or stuff like that, it gets an effect to it because you pulled him out of that timeline. Granted, they also went back and then Captain America returned the stone and then
that whole thing.
Completely just threw all that up and made that make absolutely no sense.
But I think that when the Hulk had that conversation with her, I mean, I felt like that was laying a foundation for what was going to kind of come. So so that's a ripple effect then situation. So that's dope. I actually like that personally, because then you leave this really interesting option of where things can go. So I'm gonna give a shout out to a YouTuber, kind of close friend to me, Logan. I'm gonna put his post up because I technically agree with him, but I was curious if you were gonna agree as well. All right, so I think that Evan Peters is Nicholas Scratch, known as Senor Scratchy, which Senor Scratchy is like her little her cat. Okay. Ralph, Ralph is the person that she keeps on talking and referring to as her husband, who we've never seen this entire time. Who never, even right now, we don't even know, is Mephisto, and then the cicada on the wall in Agatha's house. There was something really weird about that cicada. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, it was just like sitting there.
It was a weird thing to focus on, and the cicada looked like he was staring at Wanda.
And so I don't know. Do you agree with this, or you think that maybe some truth to it?
I just heard who Senor Scratchy was by you telling me who Senor Scratchy was. Right. But clearly it's someone who is under her control because what happened with Monica at the end.
Yep. So
I don't think if that was the actual Pietro from another dimension, that would be necessary.
True.
What did you say at the end? Snoopers gonna snoop.
Snoopers are gonna snoop. Yep. So, all right. So now we can talk about the Monica situation, and then we'll finish out on Paul Bettany's whole spiel that I sent you the other day.
Yeah.
So what do you think about Monica in this episode? Because Monica technically,
they couldn't wait to put her back in there to give her superpowers. Like, we knew the moment they hinted towards it and said, it's changing you. If you go back in there one more time, there's no telling what could happen. Everyone knew from any superhero, anything, that she one, she was going to go back in there. Two, she was going to get powers when she went back in there. Like, that was obvious.
Yeah. So would you say that this, even more so than Vision and, Wanda, if this was more so, this series had been more like the creation of Monica Rambeau and her origin story?
Yes. So far, this has been her complete origin story.
Yeah, because, I mean...
That's what I mean by Vision is not so far a needed character at all in this show. Nothing has happened where I would make Vision a needed character. Everything has been surrounding Wanda, Agnes from the beginning, and then Rambeau. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, we said it was a few weeks ago, is that Vision is her totem. Like, Vision is the thing that's the focal point of her heart that's been destroyed, that she's trying to preserve, even if it's artificial. Mm-hmm. And even to the point that the conversation that he had with what's the girl's name? Darcy. He had no idea of who he was. Like, he's sitting there asking her. And so it's kind of like, it's a shell of the person that's been built up through these movies. It's not the same exact being. And so it loses its effect because he doesn't even know who he is. We don't even know if he's actually even real. Technically, the kids have more going for them than Vision does, which is weird. But part of that is because they're trying to apply pressure to make them be the future Avengers. Yes. So, I mean, all these things are definitely set up. But I would dare to say that between Agnes would be representation of the inclusion of magic and mysticism, breaking the fourth wall, quote unquote, of the multiverse situation. Yeah. And then Monica Rambeau, she is the facilitator to the next generation of heroes, because it's evident, even when she had her moment where she was kind of slipping through.
And they gave her the slow motion mom talk.
Yeah, like they had literally.
You're the strongest kid I know.
Because I swear, Captain Marvel had the same thing happen to her when she fully realized her powers.
Oh man!
Stand up moment where she was kind of standing up in the movie, and she was calling like why she kept standing up, and I was kind of even we heard Captain Marvel's voice, like she was. So yeah, it was definitely a Luke Skywalker to Rey moment, but
hey, can't nobody say they are mad at that last part of Rise of the Skywalker when all the spirits were talking to her, and then love this scene with Monica. It's the same.
It really is the same.
Same thing.
And it's not coming for anybody. I personally am okay with it. I just don't know,
because we knew she was going to get powers. We knew like the show was setting her up to be a hero. And again, the moment they said that her molecular structure was being changed by going back in there, we knew then what was going to happen. And of course, she paid no, because she's a rebel without a cause. And so, of course, she paid no attention to anyone. I just know I need to get back in there, and I can make it. Like, we knew all of that was going to happen.
Now, I'm going to say this, bro. That made no sense.
That didn't make it not cool. It still was cool.
I mean, it was cool. Yeah. It just didn't make no sense to me because, look, hey, she was struggling to try to save herself in that freaking vehicle, bro. She was about to get pulled in. She was struggling to get out. And she made it out. And she was like, yo, I'm about to just go and dive into this.
Hey, I'll be fine.
Going. But
all it was missing was the sad song, the like superhero like origin theme that kicks in right there. That's all they was missing from that whole scene.
But
including her superhero drop, which after Deadpool, I just assumed that they would stop. As much as he made fun of he's superhero drop. Like, we knew, like, come on, you have to give her a superhero drop this early.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna ask you the question. Do you think that it was right for them to put her origin here, or should this have been something that would have played out better waiting for Captain Marvel 2?
No, because I think they need her to have her powers before Captain Marvel 2.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Yeah, they needed her to have the powers before Captain Marvel 2. So, I mean, it's fine that it plays out here because, again, Monica's a likable character. So it's perfectly fine that it plays out here. It just seemed gimmicky the way it played out, which is, it is what it is. You can't really help it at all. This how gimmicky it was. If they could have found a better way to put her back in a bubble and she didn't have to hear the voices of her ancestors speak to her as she's going through the bubble, I'd have had no issue with it. It was just that whole scene and the breaking apart. I love the part breaking apart from the character to her to like that part. I love that part. It was the voices that it was just like, okay, so we're gaining powers here. Okay.
It was really strange. I think what I was thinking that was going to happen is I thought that the vehicle was going to make it through, but then she would get pulled out of the vehicle midway, right?
Now, that would have been dope. Yes.
She just get ripped away from it as the vehicle's still going, and then like she's literally only thing she can do is move forward. And like imagine that moment, right? And then she starts to fly forward. Bam! I was like, and I'm not a writer, okay? I'm just from my perception, that would have been so much more dope because when you're in a situation like that, right, and you don't know that you have power, you don't know you're gonna survive. If she went up there and saying, "I'm just in pure willpower gonna go," it's different than you're like, "Yo, I'm going through this with the pursuit to get to Wanda by any means necessary." Then you're getting pulled from your safety net, and you don't have a choice but to move forward.
Even if she doesn't fly out, if it's something where we see like it's a superhero trope again, where like her foot hits the ground and it's stuck there. Like we see the ground breaking around her as she moves. And then as she shoots out of it, full, like, again, still in the same dress that she was in when she tried to get in the first place. And then we see her fall and we do a superhero drop because they just had to have a superhero drop. If we did it then, it'd be like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's kind of like,
oh, okay.
I think that there was a dope moment where something like this happened. It's probably one of the better moments of it in this, where he was like, he didn't have a choice. He was crumbling. He was either gonna die. It was like, come on, Spider-Man. Come on, Spider-Man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's when you're like, no matter what, I gotta do this. This is who I am, so I'm gonna have to embrace it. I thought that was a moment that it was kind of like wasted to me. I felt like they could have really went for it, but
now which hero is she supposed to be? Because supposedly there's 3 of them.
So I posted that up. So Monica Rambeau, she's got multiple different revisions of her alias. I'm gonna try to pull them all up real quick because I was kind of like, even before we prepared this, I was like, I don't know what they want her to be. I don't know what they're gonna call her. Let me see if I can find them really quick. Affiliations. I don't have the aliases. Oh, here it goes. Look, what the world? Okay, so Photon was one. I knew that. Pulsar is another one, which they don't even have listed up here. And then it was Captain Marvel. Those are the 3 different iterations. The weird thing about it is that I think they're gonna MCU it up, where they're gonna give her a combination of all the 3. But let's go to her power set really quick. Due to a bombardment from extra-dimensional energies, Monica can transform herself into any form of energy within an electromagnetic spectrum. Among many energy forms she has assumed and is able to control gamma rays, X-rays, ultraviolet radiation, visible light, electricity, infrared radiation, microwaves, radio waves, and which the radio waves is basically everything that she saw. So when her eyes were going, she saw everything. She saw the actual radio waves in full force, and then she apparently accomplished this by transforming by mentally, what does that say? Shunting the matter of her body into the dimension from which she draws her energy, replacing it with a corresponding amount of energy, which makes no daggone sense. But whatever.
She sounds like a member of Black Lightning's family.
She could be. But she is capable of flight, which they're going to pay that off by the end of the episode.
Oh, of course.
Is that saying invincibility or invisibility? Invisibility.
Yeah.
I think that
Invisibility.
Energy deduction, energy blast, but they're definitely going to have. This is going to be weird. And I think that Kevin Smith and them said this. Like, by the end of this finale, we're going to have like a purple, a red, and a blue energy just going all over the place.
Oh, for the big fight at the end? Yeah, it's going to be something of that nature.
So, but as
because
far as
they've gone out their way now to make it sure that Wanda is not a villain, even though Wanda is the villain, but they want you to know Wanda is not the villain.
So, do you think that she could still end up being the villain, though? Because I feel like she's about to lose everything.
Yes, because for her to let go, she has to let go of Vision, which she has proven she's not willing to let go. The reason Agatha possibly can control Wanda is because of her love for Vision.
Most definitely.
I'm pretty sure they're going to play off something like she wouldn't have been able to manipulate you the way she is if it wasn't for your love of Vision. I had to find the one thing you weren't willing to let go. Like, you know how superhero stuff. You know how it goes.
Yeah. Why did I think that Agnes and this black dude that was her husband for this whole entire time? Why did I think that? Whenever I heard her refer to Ralph, I kept on going to him because I don't even know what his name is. What is his name?
Black man.
I always just assumed that he was, because she was always with him, right?
I think Wanda said his name in the Halloween episode. I just can't remember it.
Yeah, but I think that what threw me off was this around the second episode or the third episode when this moment happened was when they had that conversation with Vision, and like they were fully coherent of knowing what was happening, and it's almost like he's always known, like she's always known, but they were like subtly under the control, but we didn't understand what that really meant. We just kind of assumed that they knew what was happening because they had that conversation with Vision. That's when she threw Monica under the bus in that situation.
Yeah, when she said, well, she's new to the neighborhood.
Yeah, she did say that. So she was trying to get, well, I don't know what she was trying to do, because what was the point of telling Vision during that moment when she knew that Monica was about to get thrown out anyway by Wanda?
But did she know Wanda was going to throw her out?
Or was she hoping that Vision was trying to get her out?
Yeah, one way or the other, you would get rid of her because she saw her as a threat.
Yep. Because she definitely threw her under the bus. So yeah, she's been playing the end game for a while. I still stand by this theory. I still think that
it's Mephisto.
It's either Mephisto or it's Nightmare. From my understanding, Nightmare was the person that I thought that the original director of Doctor Strange was trying to go for. He was talking about that for years, and I don't know if they kept his script or not before they, transferred it over to Sam Raimi. But Mephisto, the only reason why I keep going to him is because Mephisto would be a direct connection to Spider-Man from what Spider-Man has had to go through from a multiverse standpoint. It would make so much more sense to tie him into there and keep him as a big bag later. Or, I mean, I think Kevin Smith and them even said too that it may be not just Mephisto. It may be a collection of other big supernatural beings, because we've dealt with celestial beings. We've dealt with people from space. We haven't dealt with the supernatural side outside of, what was it, Dormammu or whatever from Doctor Strange? And that's the only one.
Yeah, that's a super character too.
So I think that this could be a really dope reveal. And also, this is where I'm gonna go, and this is all theory. So I'm not gonna say this is like finite, but I'm gonna go back to your boy Paul Bettany really quick. And his video right here. I'm gonna play it for you guys. Hopefully you guys can hear it. Here we go. I don't think
that has not been revealed, and it is very exciting. It's an actor that I've longed to work with all of my life. We have some amazing scenes together, and the chemistry between us is, I think, extraordinary, and it was just fireworks on set. So I'm really excited for people to see that stuff.
I'm gonna let it play it through again.
character that has not been revealed, and it is very exciting. It's an actor that I've longed to work with all of my life. We have some amazing scenes together, and the chemistry between us is, I think, extraordinary. It was just fireworks on set, so I'm really excited for people to see that stuff.
All right, I'm gonna stop that. So
now we've been talking about this because everybody naturally went to Ian McKellen. That's the first thought. And then people realized that he worked with Ian McKellen, so maybe that's not him. Then people went to Michael. And then people realized he said, I've been with my whole life. And that wouldn't make sense for it to be Michael.
Nope.
Now, the next logical one for most people is Patrick Stewart. What I brought up to Sam when we discussed it was, why does it have to be a character that you know? All he's focusing on is the actor.
Yeah,
playing the character.
Yep.
So it has to be a character you know at all. And that's what could lead it to being Mephisto or whatever, one of these other characters. Nightmare. Who the hell is it? Nightmare? That's a real character?
Yeah, it's actually it's a real character.
So, like, there's no telling who it could be because he's just focusing on the actor here. He's not focusing on the character.
Yeah.
All you know is that character is supposedly going to interact with Vision and they have chemistry, but actors say chemistry and they could really throw you off because chemistry for some of them could be just doing one scene together. Chemistry can be doing a multitude of scenes together.
Yep.
And but to bring Vision into play there would mean it would have to be, I want to say a one-on-one situation with whatever this character is and Vision.
Yeah.
Which would be odd.
Yeah, I was kind of like, I was searching, man. I was like, yo, who would be a really dope Mephisto? I was like, yo, William Dafoe would be a dope Mephisto. Then I was like, oh, that didn't work because he played with Paul Bettany for The Reckoning in 2012 or 2002. So that wasn't going to work. And I really don't know. I really have no idea. But I think that Lucas's point makes the most sense. It's not going to be Ian. If it's Patrick, I mean, I don't know. I just don't think it's what we think it is. It would make more sense that whoever Ralph or Mephisto or Nightmare, whoever the big bad is, would make the most sense. And not just that, when you think of somebody like Vision, like a fully realized Vision, and like say they find some kind of way of getting his stone back or whatever, you have to have somebody that is of equal or better power that can be able to manipulate and put down Wanda and Vision together. And I mean, that to me is not Agnes necessarily. So, I mean, well, I'm gonna say this, and we talked about disappointment. Say hypothetically speaking, all you guys that are watching right now, it's 12 of you guys, I think. Say hypothetically speaking, by the end of this series, we do get maybe like, you know, Benedict Cumberbatch making his appearance and like goes in, saves the day, and stop Agnes from controlling Wanda, and then Wanda ends up losing Vision, and that's the end of it. We never get a Mephisto, we never get a Nightmare, we never get anything. Would you guys be disappointed? I'm straight up asking all of you guys, like, would you feel like this was a lot of this to not go to a different level or a plateau when you're putting this much money and marketing and push behind a show like this, what it could do? I don't know, Lucas, what do you think about that question?
I wouldn't mind it, but I understand why fans of this show would probably hate it. Like, I think that would be a nice ending to have.
To have Agnes just be the person at the end of the day was...
Yeah, and that Strange comes in to help stop because that leads us into Doctor Strange too.
Yeah.
But other people, they need, I mean, for people who wants to put this in competition with this other Disney show that came out and this other huge reveal, and they're constantly teasing a huge reveal. So you're going to have to go big because of that tease with that other reveal that happened. So people would be highly disappointed if you get all the way to the end and it's Doctor Strange or Chikwe Ekafor or one of those type of characters where it's someone who Paul hasn't really worked with and that he loves to work with the person, but it ain't the big person that you thought or the big character that you thought it would be.
I mean, who do you think it actually is? Like, full disclosure, like who?
The slightest idea.
Because I'm looking through this man's like he's worked with everybody. He's
Paul has
worked with
lots upon lots upon lots of good people.
like he's worked with everybody. This man even worked with Harrison Ford, Firewall.
But that's why, shucks, Patrick Stewart makes the most sense for so many people. It's literally the one person that I don't think he's worked with. But then that's people still wanting it to bring a connection to the Fox movies.
And Fox, yep.
Yeah. But what happened if that's not the case?
I don't know. Let me look this up. Patrick Stewart. People been looking for this joint.
That's why I said it could just be a well-known actor that they're going to keep a secret and not tell you until that happens. But what happens again if it's just a great actor that he wants to work with? You got to be very careful and understanding when an actor says this is somebody I've always wanted to work with. It ain't normally a big name when they say that. It's just somebody who they respect immensely their talent to act.
Bruh, I really wish that he hadn't said nothing.
Like, has he ever worked with Michael Douglas?
Michael Douglas. Yeah. Because Michael Douglas was in the
Paul was dead by the time that Michael Douglas popped up in Endgame, sir.
But I'm saying that he would have worked with him.
No, he wouldn't have.
In Infinity War, right? Because Michael Douglas did get he got zapped out in Ant-Man 2.
Exactly. Yeah. Michael Douglas was not around for anything besides the end of Endgame. When Ant-Man, when he's at a funeral for Iron Man and Vision is gone by that point.
It would have still been in the same movie.
No. See, but working together, being in the same movie is not the same thing.
True.
It's plenty of people who've been in the same movie with each other and did not work with one another. Always the acting part is him saying, I hadn't worked with this person.
This man, I wish he hadn't said nothing. I get the hype and I get the intrigue.
Because all he's saying is it's a character that's not been introduced yet. That's all he says, right?
Yeah.
It's a character that's not been introduced yet. He didn't say a brand new character. He said a character that's not been introduced yet. And it's someone who my entire life I wanted to work with.
Play Dr. House was an inspiration for him.
And why can't it be Michael Douglas?
I mean, technically it could be. It's just
because Ant-Man science is all over this show.
I think the problem if it is like that's not enough.
It's not big
to make that kind of announcement.
It's not big to you. It's not big to certain fans. He didn't say like it's going to be this huge reveal. That all he said is it's a character that's not been introduced yet and is being played by somebody I've always wanted to work with. That's all he said.
But he was like, "We got so much great chemistry and yada yada yada." Bro,
it's only chemistry.
It's only 2 episodes left. What is he talking about?
But
that means there's only one episode.
Remember, I said to an actor, chemistry can happen in one scene. Chemistry can happen in one scene to an actor. It doesn't take much for you to have great chemistry with someone.
Man, I just wish that he hadn't said anything.
It would have been better if he didn't say anything, but they wanted to tease something because Luke Skywalker got teased. And then look what happened. Let's be real here. Now, will it get measured on that level? I don't care who you bring in. Unless Stan Lee is coming back from the dead to play a character, it's not going to be at the level of that. But again, he's an actor, so he's excited to work with somebody, and I get that.
Yeah.
But we may just be putting too much emphasis on who we think that person could be, and then the mind goes to the biggest characters humanly possible or the biggest actors humanly possible. It's no telling who it could be.
Yeah.
Maybe it's what other movies are coming out with older characters in it?
For Marvel? Look, there you go.
Eternals, Angelina Jolie. There you go.
They've had a movie together.
Oh.
I forget what the name of the movie was, but
who else is in Eternals? Who else is in Eternals that's old?
That's old? Man, look, I don't know. At this point, it's making me more upset to even speculate now at this point. But
because you're waiting for a big reveal, but I don't believe they're not going to reveal too big of a character in a television show. I still don't think that's going to happen. So it's going to be someone who really fits into this show, this setting. So that's what makes people think someone else from the Fox universe. But if the other analogy of that being her cat is who is Pietro right now, eliminate anything from the Fox movies because that's not going to happen. What would be the point?
Yeah, I think her cat is the daggone rabbit. Just the way she was interacting with the rabbit, she's always interacted with rabbit. But I don't know. I feel like they're saving something really big, but I don't think
clearly they're saving something big. But the problem is, how big is the save actually going to be? Yeah. That's what's irritating you. Is how big is the save actually going to be? To me, on the other hand, I don't care about it. I paid little to no attention when Paul said that. It didn't matter to me, not one bit so at all. To me, it's about, okay, how are you going to end this show? How are you going to combine everything to end this show? How are you going to make Vision important again? Is this character supposed to make Vision important?
Wait, what? Hold up. Read what this guy said. I'm not sure you can see it. Thanks to J83 for that that comment. How would you take that?
No. No.
I mean, it could. I mean, it could be a voice. It could be a completely
Luke Skywalker size cameo is not Mark Hamill. Understand, Mark Hamill as an actor is not a big cameo to get. Luke Skywalker as a character is a big cameo to get. Really not to the extent Mark Hamill didn't play Luke Skywalker in the cameo for The Mandalorian. They did not use him at all. He found out at the same time everyone else found out. So no. If it's Mark Hamill, be disappointed. I'm telling everybody, you need to be disappointed if it's Mark Hamill hamming it up on no. Why would anybody tease Mark Hamill? I'm so confused here.
I don't know. Let's see. What's going on, Chris P? I say because we have nothing from the season end. What's to say same won't happen? Falcon and Winter Soldier. I don't know. Well,
Falcon and Winter Soldier is a different type of show. Like that show is really supposed to be more of the action-packed type show. Yeah. I don't think Falcon and Winter Soldier is going for big reveals as much as it's just going to be. Have you seen a trailer? It looks like a Fast and Furious trailer.
So I'm actually really excited for it just because it's got
because it's an action show.
Yeah.
Granted, again, as we said last week, it's this other thing that's coming out around the same time that's going to make Falcon and Winter Soldier have to wait 3 to 4 weeks before I care about it. But like, it's still an action-packed show. I don't think that's the show for big reveals. This was always the show for the big reveal was WandaVision.
Yeah.
And to me, they've done enough right now I would be fine. If Paul didn't say what he said, I'll be fine right now. Monica's a superhero. Yeah. Agnes is a very powerful witch that can control Wanda. I'm fine with that. If that's it, we're great. At that point, just tie everything together. That's all I would ask. And if you drop Strange in it right there, wait a minute. Tia Swanson. Has Paul worked with her?
Tia Swanson. Let me look it up.
The ancient one.
What the world? You going a whole different route with this. Tilda Swinton.
I said Swanson. It is Tilda Swinton.
I don't think so. I don't see anything.
That would be someone who he would love to work with.
I think they would work good together too.
Yes,
they got that kind of weird vibe.
And that would, if that was the case, and you used her to tie this into Strange, that would be a great thing. See, that's what I mean. It doesn't have to be this overly big thing. That would be a great thing to do. To me, the show has accomplished what it needed to accomplish to an extent. It still has not fully established the multiverse, which I believe it will do by the end of the show. As long as
2 episodes.
Yeah. As I said at the beginning, that's all this show needed to do. Introduce the possibility of it. Once you introduce the possibility of it, you've done your job. I don't need big reveals. It's nothing else big needs to happen in the show.
Yeah, I one thing that my critique was with this is I really wish that they would have done with the sitcom stuff. I really wish that I mean, I don't have any issue with Modern Family personally, but I was like, really, I wish I'd never heard, okay, the next 2 episodes are hour long. We're out of the TV era. This is just a breakdown of this hex. That's it. That's all I really need. And I'm assuming that's what's going to happen moving forward because was it Darcy or was it Monica or Jimmy? I can't remember. One of them said that there's no more radio waves at all. So I'm assuming that the next few episodes are not going to be like TV oriented unless there's some shenanigans that happen.
They drugged that out unnecessarily long.
Yeah, I think that it worked for a while, but now it's just kind of like it's too much. Infamous Quan put this. I'm gonna post it up, and I have a comment to her. Is that she's dead though? So because we're dealing with a multiverse situation, it doesn't have to be this MCU's version of that character. It can be from any facet of reality. So it's still possible. At this point, at the moment that you put Evan Peters, Pietro in this, even if just face alone, they can pull it from anywhere.
To me, the moment that you introduce a character that can play with dimensions and timelines, that's it. That's all I paid attention to. The moment you put a character that can play with dimensions and timelines in it, and we know that this again is supposed to set up a multi-dimension type of setting moving forward for the MCU, anyone being dead no longer matters. And let's be real here. No one's dead anymore. No one's dead anymore.
Yeah. Switch guy said, what do you guys think about the mailman? He seems to be fishy.
We've been talking about him from the beginning.
Since was it episode 2 or 3? Something
the moment they introduced him, he seemed like an off character.
Yeah. And he hasn't really changed either. Matter of fact, every time we see him, he's doing the same exact thing. Like he's just going straight down the street away from everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But never too long a period of time. And we've never established what Agatha's husband looks like. So, I mean, that could be her husband. Could be the mailman. I mean, that would fit the classic trope that the neighbor down the street, like her husband is always gone because he's always working. Would be the mailman. He's delivering the mail. So I don't know. We'll see. I think that would be a really interesting little nudge.
Again, it's just that everybody's on edge because Paul decided to open his mouth.
Yeah,
but I'm pretty sure he was instructed to open his mouth.
Yeah. So yeah, we're about to
sit back and enjoy.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm reading this one. What's your thoughts of the Skrulls being involved under direct order of Nick Fury, similar to the Skrulls acting as Nick Fury?
I mean, but that they already have a show for that in Secret Invasion that's going to star the Skrulls, I thought, and Samuel Jackson.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that would be interesting, but so the Skrulls would be the people? But then wouldn't that mean the Skrulls are under the control of Wanda and Agatha?
I think that's a little bit too deep. I think that they're gonna say that I wouldn't pay that off now, because you're already dealing with the biggest thing in the funnel of this is the multiverse. I think to add in Skrulls, like multidimensional like beings, on top of like aliens doesn't make sense for this show. Aliens would be a stretch to me personally, but I mean it is technically Captain Marvel, so I mean they could. I don't know. Hiding, looking after Wanda. Anyway, we're gonna stop with the questions.
As everything is going crazy and everyone's trying to figure out what is going on with WandaVision. Just sit back and watch the last 2 episodes. Which, if this next one ain't 45 minutes long, Sam, if it ain't 45 minutes long, they're going to give you that supersized finale, Game of Thrones type of finale. which
Look,
will
we are
be like
never gonna say that. Don't
an
say
hour
that.
and
Don't curse
20
this
minutes.
show, bro. Don't curse this show.
No, that's just you people that didn't. I love the Game of Thrones finale.
Yeah.
I also did not watch Game of Thrones season 1 through 7 though, or 1 through 6, or whatever the other ones were. So I didn't care.
There you go. There you go. That's it. But yeah, you guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you leave a like. Make sure you subscribe. I'm about to go and watch a little bit of Attack on Titan with some friends. And yeah.
Never, ever would I watch it.
You know you would really like it. I'm
nope,
out of any other anime, for real, I really think you would actually.
I'm going to finally attempt to watch Tom and Jerry and get that out the way before it comes out.
Yeah, I need to talk to you about that. But anyway, we will be giving you guys an animated spoiler discussion though, much later. Of
possibly the best superhero show you're going to see in 2021. And that's all we'll say about it.
And all we can say is nothing.
Yes.
We're on embargo until March the 19th. But if you looked at the last video I did yesterday, you'll know what I'm talking about.
There you go.
There you go. That's all you get. Yeah, we can't wait to talk about it with you guys. All right. Peace, everybody. We're going.